Hi, I'm Mark and welcome to the current Outside Views report on Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. Russia has accused the West of being directly involved in the war because of its military aid to Ukraine. Former Russian head of state Dmitry Medvedev interpreted Podoljak's statements about the attacks on Crimea permitted by the West as direct, legally weighty evidence of the West's involvement in the war against Russia. Although we all know Medvedev. This gives Moscow the opportunity to take action against everyone in the NATO countries. That's what the deputy head of Russia's National Security Council wrote on Telegram. The predictions of the apocalypse are getting closer and closer, he said, alluding to the threat that the nuclear power would use any means necessary to defend its claims. Ukraine has been defending itself against the Russian invasion for more than 18 months with massive Western aid. Including Crimea, Russia controls over 100,000 square kilometers of Ukrainian territory. During its counteroffensive, Ukraine announced that it would take back its occupied territories, though. But fighting continues in southern Ukraine. The General Staff in Kiev reported on Tuesday progress towards Verbove, without giving any further details. The front section between the villages of Robotyne and Verbove in the Zaporizhia region has been heavily contested since the beginning of the Ukrainian offensive because of its strategic importance. Now the Ukrainians say they have taken Robotyne and, according to the US Chief of Staff Mark Milley, have broken through the first well-secured line of defense. I talked about this yesterday already. For the Ukrainian troops, this is an important step in the direction of the city of Melitopol, which is still 75 kilometers away, even if it is still unclear how strong the defense line behind the Russian occupying forces is. The aim of the Ukrainian offensive is still to push towards the coast and thus drive a wedge between the Russian occupying forces and cut them off from supplies. After more than a year and a half of war, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky announced a maximum increase in arms production to fight against the Russian invasion. I talked about this on Monday already. In addition to artillery and weapons and ammunition, drones, missiles and armored vehicles should also be manufactured in the country. We are increasing the production volume to the maximum. Ukraine can do it. The financing is in place. Our defense industry will bring good results. That's what Zelensky said in his video message distributed every evening in Kiev, and he said that already on Monday. The Ukrainian leadership has repeatedly announced plans to turn the country into one of the largest arms producers. According to Zelensky, he already met with the representatives of the defense industry so that production could be further ramped up. Ukraine was already an important location for tank and missile production in Soviet times. But Russia has also massively expanded its wartime economy and relies primarily on volunteers when it comes to replenishing personnel for the war and the front. Since the war of aggression began on February 24th in 2022, pay in the Russian army has increased significantly, according to British information. Military service in the Russian armed forces has become increasingly lucrative since the invasion. That's what the British Ministry of Defence said. Wages and bonuses are strong motives for joining the military, especially for those from poorer areas of Russia. At the same time, the authority emphasized, however, it is still unlikely that Russia will achieve its goals in recruiting volunteers for the armed forces. Ukraine has long criticized the fact that Russia continues to receive components for weapons, for example, while circumventing Western sanctions. The German federal prosecutor is investigating a German-Russian businessman who is said to have supplied electronic components for drones to Russia. The man is in custody, and the authorities said on Tuesday in Karlsruhe that he is. He is accused of repeatedly violating the Foreign Trade Act. As managing director of 2 companies in the Saarland, he is said to have given electronic components to a Russian company that produces military material and accessories in 26 cases. This includes the Orlan-10 drone deployed by Russian forces in Ukraine. The components delivered between January 2020 and March 23, worth more than 700,000 euros, are subject to the Russian embargo ordinance, as the Supreme German prosecutor explained. In order to avoid the sanctions, the German-Russian first imported the goods from abroad to Germany and then brought them to Russia via a company in Baden-Württemberg. Since the beginning of the Russian war of aggression against Ukraine in February 2022, the components have also reached Russia via Dubai and Lithuania. And if you want to know more about the developments in this war, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.